Trust the Profits, it's the formula here, and we are still counting down to the Kentucky Derby. Gotta love this runway leading up to the Derby. We are getting through as many spotlights as possible. Colin Sheehan just dropped 3. Thank you, Colin, for knocking those out. And I got another one here. The second of 2 Japanese horses invading the Derby. Invading. Ooh. Admire Daytona. Admire Daytona getting a little bit less pub than Luxor Cafe, I believe. 2 horses are very close. I think the edge does go to Luxor Cafe. But let's put the spotlight on Admire Daytona and see if he stands up, see if there's something you like here, and try to reel through what I think is kind of interesting about this horse. So YUKIHIRO KATO is the trainer. Christophe Lemaire, the jockey for Admire Daytona. Sire Drefong. It's a fun word to say. 6 races, 2 second places, 2 first places lifetime. One of those wins being the UAE Derby, which is his biggest win to date, in my humble opinion. Style, I thought I had it all figured out. I did. I thought he was a bit of a pace setter. After watching the UAE Derby, I thought, no horse who can get up front like this and stay up front at 9.5 furlongs can possibly be anything but a pace setter. But then I watched 2 more races and his style was completely different both times. I don't like to use the question mark very often. Usually I can look through a past performance and say, okay, with 80% certainty or so, this is probably about where he's going to be. I feel pretty good about it, at least. Admire Daytona. I'm giving you the question mark, buddy. Maybe you're a 5-tool shortstop and we just don't know it. But 30-1 morning line on this horse here with the style versatility. Let's see what else we got here. Pros and cons. Used to running in huge fields in Japan. I mean, we saw this with Luxor Cafe. We're going to see it with Admire Daytona. You look through these past performances, he's not running against 4 other horses in Santa Anita. No, sometimes the field is 16 deep. That's right. They're not cutting it at 12. They're 16 deep. And look at that record he posted. Has no problem with that number of horses. Has no problem with the traffic. At least in my opinion, at least so far from what I've seen. Granted, given the record, you would assume that he probably doesn't have too much problem in traffic. Let's take a look at some of the tape. Got 3 videos for you guys. 3 videos we're going to watch. Want to put that, I should have put that at the top. We're 2 minutes deep. In case you tuned out by now, you don't know that we're going to watch 3 replays. So you're going to get all sorts of tape on Admire Daytona. Has dueled with Luxor Cafe, the 15-1 Japanese horse, in a 1,600 meter, that is about a mile, race. And the 2 look pretty close. Towards in that stretch run, it was them and a mile of dust, and then 14 other horses. So yeah, the 2 are, this is a very good Japanese pairing coming into the Derby, in my opinion. We've seen races where he sets the pace, sits 2 to 3 lengths off the pace, comes from deep. In my opinion, he looks like he could be very pace versatile. So if they've got a very good plan for him, if they know where he wants to be, this is a horse that I think he can, wherever you want to put him, as long as he listens, I think he's going to be pretty successful. Or he has at least the opportunity and has shown that he has had success in the past. Obviously, this is the Derby, and class has to be taken into consideration as well. And yeah, do want to note that he did set the pace. He rallied and then he re-rallied, and we're going to see that in a bit at the 9.5 furlong UAE Derby. Really impressive run. I liked what I saw from him there. Yeah. The cons, though, he's a shipper. It's hard to comp him in the U.S. to the U.S. horses who have been running on this soil. Some of them have been running at Churchill Down or run there previously. So it's hard to get a comp for him. Hasn't run against too many other U.S. horses. Let me look at my notes here. He ran against one Bob Baffert horse whose name always escapes me, and his name is Flood Zone. There you have it. Yeah, not the best comp, not the best horse to stack yourself up to when you're talking about Derby participants. So yeah, Admire Daytona, we'll see. Of the 2 horses shipping, he's been beaten by Luxor Cafe twice. Came in very close, as I said. I've got, a pro that he comps close to Luxor Cafe, and then I got a con saying Luxor Cafe is better. Well, Luxor Cafe has beaten him twice. One time it was by more than 2 lengths. So I'm just throwing out there, we've already seen one horse who's in the race who's beat him twice. Just tossing that out there. And his times at the UAE Derby, we'll dig into this a little bit too. They were slower. slower than what we've seen the past few years. We've seen Dermisotogake and Forever Young running in the Kentucky Derby coming out of UAE, and the times were closer to that of like a Crown Pride, if you will. So if times are any sort of indication coming out of the UAE Derby of what this horse should be capable of, he's going to be a little bit further back, right? He's not going to be there for the stretch run. So let's look in detail at the past performance. Do like pulling this part up here. So yeah, we're going to go through the UAE Derby in a sec. You can see that was a 9-horse field. If we look at the far right here, that is the smallest field he's run in to date. And then he ran a whole bunch of miles before that, right? So he's been in a whole bunch of miles here, 137, 139, 135. That is the one where Luxor Cafe broke his maiden. Yeah, Luxor Cafe broke his maiden in that race, 16 horses deep, and I'll show you that one as well. And yeah, the Hyacinth, Luxor Cafe beat him by 3 lengths in that one. Admire Daytona came in 4th place in that race. So yeah, we got a couple things to go through. Let's go through those now. I'm going to bounce back here. Gonna bounce this one out, switch this one up. Let's go into full screen here. Okay, so this is a maiden race. You're going to want to pay attention to the 2 far horses. 16 is Admire Daytona. 15 is Luxor Cafe. So let's see where they go here. They are out. 16 horse looks like he pokes his head up there, but then the wave inside passes him up there. 16, that is Admire Daytona. So you can see in this race, I believe this is the one here, he is going to take up a bit of a stalker's position, at least early on right here. You're like 13, 14 seconds in, so he's past the 1 furlong. So he's 3 or 4 lengths behind here. The 15 horse, let me remind you, that is Luxor Cafe. You can see him 1.5 lengths behind Admire Daytona. And now we're going to do what they like to do, where they just sort of pan and scan through all the different horses. But they are focusing on Luxor Cafe. They know this is his day, don't they? They just know they've been waiting for Luxor Cafe. Now they're looking at the back of the pack, who's going to be moving up here. And you got to love that they don't have any different colors here. You're just got to focus in on that number, hope for the best. Oh, the 9 horse all the way in the back. We love him. But let's look for the 16 and the 15 here. They're going to come around the outside. So pay attention to the outside. They're going to give us a nice little preview here. So the 15 and the 16, you think they finished the turn and they didn't. All right, now there's going to be a bit of an explosion here. You see the 15 start to take off about now. And then the 16 is going to be right next to him. They are going to duel like no one's business. 1 and the 2 there have no idea what hit them. Camera bounces back, makes it easy for us. Yeah, 15 is going to take over. He's going to win by a nose here. I can't tell which one's which, but you're going to see one is going to be by ahead a little bit. And it's Luxor Cafe, 135.8. Let's keep that in mind. That is about as close as you get to a mile time, 135.8. Now, let us switch over. Let's switch our gears over to the Hyacinth. These horses are going to duel again. Let's go full screen here at the Hyacinth. Okay, now Admire Daytona is the 8. Luxor Cafe is the 9. Going a mile again. Boom. So what do we talk about there? He was taking a bit of a stalker's pace here. So the 8 horse, you see the 9 up there, that's Luxor Cafe. The 8 horse is nowhere to be seen. The 8 horse is almost all the way in the back. If you look at the very top there, you see the 3 in the back. The 8 is right behind him. So either something went wrong or he's got a different style here. But still, he's going to pull off a pretty decent race here. He's going to come in 4th. Spoiler alert. But yeah, there he is right there. That's the horse that we're looking at. So Admire Daytona, the 8, all the way in the back there. They're going a mile. He will make a move eventually, but this is going to be the 9's day, isn't it? We already know that to be the case. He's already moving up the pack a little bit. I couldn't tell if he had gait issues there. It's very hard to tell from the camera angle, or if he's just taking up a different strategy. But yeah, that's the case there. So the 8 moving up slowly. The packs are starting to come together, forming a little bit of peloton there. You're going to see the 9 jump out as soon as they come out of this turn. He's going to go pretty wide. Boom. The 9. The 8 is going to push in there as well, but really it's going to be about the 3 here, which is Ooh, can't remember the name of the horse, but this is, Nadal's filly. Is gonna really explode here as well. So the 8's trying to keep up. It's not looking like the maiden race that we just watched, right? Luxor Cafe is gonna really stretch this one out. Three's gonna get close, though. 3 is charging ahead. Luxor Cafe almost getting caught there. Almost getting caught. Whew. Um, yeah, no commercials for me today, please. Thank you. Let's switch over now. Okay, so we've seen a couple different miles. Let's go up to 9.5 furlongs. Let's watch the UAE Derby. Pay attention to the one horse here. Going to get a nice break. One horse gets out in front, getting a little bit of a shift and challenge there from. Where's my one? Where's my one? Getting a little bit of a challenge there from the 5, it looks like, and the 7, but the 1 is going to maintain the rail if I've got this right. Let's see. Yeah, the 1, there you go. Admire Daytona out in front there. The 7, that is a flood zone. Flood zone giving challenge to the 1, Admire Daytona. Admire Daytona, model of consistency throughout this race here. Looking really strong early on, setting that pace. And let me remind you, this is 9.5 furlongs. They are half a furlong off of a 10 furlong race. That's right. Meyer Daytona really holding up here, holding flood zone out there. Uh, Not on the rail, but just off the rails. We can see from that camera view, pushing him out a little bit there, but really holding his own, keeping the pace. They're not giving you splits. That's a little bit unfortunate. I would love to see a split right now. We're about halfway through the race. We've got 800 meters to go as of right now. Getting a lot of challenge there, getting a lot of pressure. Flood zone falls back a bit. But man, the 1 is just maintaining. The 1 horse, Admire Daytona, just maintaining as they're coming up to 600 meters here. Um, Tons of challenge, tons of pressure on this pace from different horses at various points. The 6 and the 2 there putting a lot of pressure on. Okay, we've got 400 meters to go. That is a quarter mile left. And you're going to get into a bit of a duel here. And look at this. So you think that he's beaten. You think the 2 and the 6 take over, but he digs deep and he finds more. Look at him. He stretches out a little bit. That's his rally. The 2 comes back. And then here he comes again with another little bit of a rally. The 6 is really pushing it now. And he is holding off, and he gets in by a head or nose. Just barely. Just barely. Somewhat contentious, some might say. Whew, how about that? So that's as many races as we can get through, as many races as I could find for Admire Daytona. What am I going to say about this, though? The mile times. So in that race, I want to point this out, and this isn't the case. If we go back to the past performances, like I showed you, right in the middle there, 135. It's got 139, 137, 138, 136. He's posting some up and down mile times. It's natural, I think, but in this case with Luxor Cafe 135, I wanted to show you how that stacks up against some of the horses that were on the Derby Trail that ran the mile, right? So we've got a whole bunch of weird races from a while back. And yes, a lot of these are from a while back. So it's hard to really gauge them against each other. But with a bullet, these times are better than everybody else. Jonathan's Way is the closest one, and then a big drop down to Chancer McPatrick. Uh, Jonathan's Way on there twice for the Iroquois. That is a mistake. I'm sure there was a horse that came in second place in that race that is supposed to be. Drawing a blank on who came in second to Jonathan's Way right now. I'll come up with it after we finish this. But one other thing I did want to tell you, pace makes the race. Yeah, that's just a nice thing to know. Here are the times, the finishing times for the UAE Derby. Ignore what I said above. Admire Daytona with a 159.13. That's the race we just watched, right? So what I like about the UAE Derby is it finally gives us some sort of comp, or we finally get some sort of comp from the Louisiana Derby here, where they run the same distance. And you can see from the Louisiana Derby, different, maybe slightly different surfaces, maybe different dirt. But you can see from past performances, right? We're getting Tistastic and Chunk of Gold running 156s. You can see that Forever Young with a 157, Derma Gaki 155, not far off. Rebels Romance a 156, Mendelssohn 155, Thunder Snow a 157.76. These are all the sub 158 races. Looking through the past performances, So you remember Forever Young got third last year. Derma Sotogake, a lot of people forget he got sixth the year before. And I thought Forever Young would do worse based on the time that he had there. But no, Forever Young dug deep, looked good. The comp here, I would like to draw out Crown Pride. This is the only other 159 on the sheet here. Admire Daytona, a low 159, but I think he's kind of middling there. 13th place, plus K Parfait in 8th place with a 158.41. Then you got Lonnie. Yeah, I think he's probably mid-pack here based on this. Probably. Final thoughts. So performance at the UAE Derby is worth considering just because of the fight that the horse had down the stretch there. The way he's able to set the pace, and then he dug deep and he was able to hold off any sort of invaders. Great effort at the end, but yeah, you look at the final times, and I know we talked about the final time for the mile, but it's really that long time that I look at, and I'm trying to comp it to some horses that we've seen at the Derby in the past, and I'm not too thrilled with it, which is why he's not sitting as well with me as a horse like Luxor Cafe. All right, guys, those are my thoughts on. Well, let me bounce out of this. Those are my thoughts on Admire Daytona, the other horse shipping in from Japan, the other Japanese horse. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if this is helpful. I hope it is. And good luck to you guys on Derby Day. See ya.